Y'all, I know I look crazy right now, but I needed to just hop on here real quick and talk about the natural hair community, because a lot of crazy things are happening right now. Actually, a lot of crazy things already happened, and people are starting to wake up a little bit and realize what is actually happening in their minds, what is going on social media, in the community, in real life. And it's very interesting. So I started my natural hair journey, and there's still hair coming out. Jesus. I started my natural hair journey about 3 years ago. I believe it was 2019 when I had my last relaxer. It's my anniversary is coming up. And then 4 years ago. Oh my gosh. 4 years ago that I had my last relaxer, so my hair is 4 years old almost. And then 3 years ago that I big chopped. I was doing YouTube university, right? So going on YouTube, watching hundreds and hundreds of videos, which eventually led to me buying a book about how to take care of natural hair, and then going into the career of what I do now, natural hairstyling. So while I was on YouTube community, YouTube university, learning about stuff, because there's like little to no research on natural hair that's available to us, that we know, science textbook. There's not a lot. So we kind of had to figure it out ourselves. But there is this rhetoric that, in order to have healthy, natural hair, and, the whole point of the natural hair movement was to embrace your natural texture, defy the European standards of beauty and, femininity or whatever, by wearing your natural texture, especially if it's 4C. And I was all for that. I was yes. I don't know what that hand gesture was, but whatever. I was all for it. Great. If you're really paying attention, there was a lot, and there still is a lot of self-hatred. People being basically using the platform to complain about their hair, being it's not manageable, it is nappy, it is ugly, I don't like the way I look, I don't feel right. There are all these natural hair Nazis that will be you have heat damage, you shouldn't be straightening your hair, you need to wear it in its natural texture, you have to do all these things. There are all these rules. You can't say you're 4C if you're not 4C, and no one can agree on what 4C is. Lots of gatekeeping, lots of bullying. A lot of the rules, I feel initially had good intentions. There were people who would spread this anti-black ideas about let's be honest, my hair type is ugly, my hair type is unprofessional, let's keep it real. Nobody wants to date someone with this hair texture, it's not practical, whatever it was. And of course, I was like, that's ridiculous. We need to be pushing against those type of ideas. Obviously, if someone discriminates against you because of your hair texture, they need to be canceled. They need to leave. They need to do some thinking. They need therapy, whatever it is. We all need therapy, but so initially I was like, those people are crazy. They are the problem, right? But eventually I'm starting to realize that there are people on the other side who are also the problem. The people who are like, you can never straighten your hair, you can't wear your hair straight, or else you want to be white, you hate yourself. If you they would literally look at videos of these women, and they're like, I used to follow African Hair God, and he would do these streams where he would react to women and their natural hair. He would make natural hair videos, and there was a large community of like hundreds of people who would watch and be like, yes, this is so funny. He would, because he's a licensed cosmetologist, he really knows his stuff, and he is an advocate for black women and loving black hair and natural hair, and not using relaxers, not using a ton of heat. And a lot of the content he makes is very educational and very uplifting, and like there's a lot of love for blackness and afro textured hair. But at the same time, there were a lot of people in the chat, and he would make these claims as well that seemed very like judgmental of people who wanted to wear their hair straight, or felt like they needed a relaxer, or whatever it was. And I was kind of on their side. I was like, yeah, that's kind of cringe. They need to do whatever it is, some work. But the last few months, as I've been working with my own hair and realizing that I'm struggling, and that my ends are not in the best condition, and I'm just tired. I'm tender-headed, so it takes me a long time to detangle my hair, and I'm just tired. Like, I don't have time for this. So I've been doing research about, can I be a straight natural, whatever. And then I started to find these videos about heat training, and always a controversial topic when we would talk about heat training, because everyone was like, there were people who were like, yes, I'm a heat trained natural or whatever, and there are people over here who were like, heat training, it's heat damage, let's be honest. And after watching a lot of the videos by like naturals who are heat trained themselves, as well as cosmetologists, it's become a little bit more nuanced. Yes, heat training is heat damage, but it is not to the extent that heat damage, as we refer to it, is. So heat damage most of the time means that, oops, I straightened my hair, it was too high of a heat, or I didn't use a heat protectant, or I used the wrong heat protectant, or something went wrong, and now I have straight pieces on the end of my hair. Obviously, those are not desirable, and that's like a whole other issue. But besides the fact of being physically undesirable and aesthetically displeasing, the straight pieces are damaged, like to a point where your hair no longer is reacting the way you want it to. Obviously, it is straight, so it's not gonna curl up, but at the same time, it is not going to accept and hold on to moisture the way a curl with elasticity is going to. It's lost protein, it's lost the disulfide bonds, so the structural integrity is gone, and it is a lot more likely to break off because of that. So there's like disadvantages besides the physical look of it. But if there's a balance and you are putting heat on your hair to the extent that it loosens the curl a little bit, but when you wet it, or when it reverts, it still has some elasticity. That is what heat training is. It is a behavior more than a look. So that's how it's been explained to me, is that people are able to manipulate their hair easier, it straightens out easier, it lasts longer, and there is some damage, but it is not to the extent where the hair is not accepting moisture, or the hair is dry, breaking off. It's not brittle, it is just easier to stretch. That's it. And it looks a little bit looser. That's it. And I'm watching this video called Why I Decided to Become a Straight Natural Type 4 Natural Hair by Roxana Renee. And she's saying that because she was so ashamed of how her natural hair looked when she big chopped, she braided it up and put a wig on it. Because she was so ashamed or fearful of the natural hair community coming after her for straightening her hair. And I just think that is absolutely insane. Like, we're supposed to be a community. We're supposed to be encouraging each other, lifting each other up, loving each other, accepting each other. Why? I feel like that's worse. Like, putting on, like, I don't know if she was talking about synthetic or not, but putting on literally someone else's hair onto your head to not be someone who is in favor of European standards of beauty. That's bonkers. That is absolutely bonkers. The fact that Black women feel backed into a corner, and obviously everyone has their own, like, everyone is free to do what they want, but it's just like, why the shame? Why can't people do what they want? It's their hair. Why do you care so much? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know if people are still gonna have these attitudes for the majority, and there's still a lot of people in the videos that I've watched of the heat trainers who will be like, I just don't like the way I look, and I think that is not a good reason to be heat training. For me, I love the look of having a fro. It's just not practical because it hurts. It hurts me. I don't have time. Like, if I were the queen, best believe I would be wearing a fro a majority of the time. But I am not the queen. As much as Bridgerton is a, you know, a great show, it is not reality for me. And I think that I really need a trim, and this is going to help me along my journey, and it might help you along your journey. And I just think that we need to be kind to each other, be understanding. Look at the facts, honey. Just look at the facts. And people's feelings, they matter. If you are attacking someone because of what they're doing with their hair, it's weird. It's really weird. It's giving weird. Let's just let each other live. Please. We can do that. I think we can do that. Of course, there's always room for analysis. There's always room for critique of systems. But when you start attacking your sister, it's not a good look. It's not. So that's all I have to say about that. I will be back to talk, maybe not, to talk about why I'm trimming my hair, and actually it might be a cut, and why I'm sad, but also like maybe this is a good thing. Maybe I'm expanding my mind. I'm, you know, it's rough out here. So please be kind to each other. Actually, not like Ellen. Okay? And I love you, and goodbye.